Welcome. Glad you could be back. In our first video, what we went through with Boox.Expert was we created a chat interface, and we used OpenAI ChatGPT to create that chat interface. And what it allows you to do is to communicate back and forth with AI. We hear a lot of talk about AI agents and how that's going to be in the future. Well, not one company is going to own the AI agents. This is going to be up to multiple companies across industries, really across the planet, that are going to build their own AI agents. So, in our last video, we created the Azure function to be able to communicate with OpenAI, created the front-end interface. And what we're going to do with this video is we're going to start building the business logic into the ChatGPT Azure function. Now, you won't actually need too many Azure functions, because that one Azure function that we're working with right now is going to be edited and revised by OpenAI and ChatGPT. And in this particular instance, we're probably only going to need one Azure function to run the entire app. So this function, some of the logic that we're going to add in today is we're going to build a customer relationship type of logic to identify if the chat is just communicating back and forth, or if the chat has gone to another level where we need to create a customer. And we're going to have OpenAI build out an HTML form that's then going to populate with that customer information if that is the direction that OpenAI thought and ChatGPT thought that the particular user was going to go. Now, this is only the second video, and in subsequent videos, we're going to start building out this CRM into Stripe. We're not even going to really use a SQL database for this CRM. We're going to rely on Stripe's API interface to store all the records. So that's the beauty of this, is that you're going to have everything stored securely with PCI compliance and other built-in logic already, and all you're doing is communicating with the database that's built through Stripe, and then with the front-end user interface, the chat interface. We do have a SQL database for the chats themselves, but we're kind of using a hybrid model, and I think that is going to work out great for anyone that uses this application in your organization. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and we will walk through editing this Azure function. The first video was about 2 hours long. I'm going to try to get this video to under a half hour. So let's see if we can do that, and we're going to build some business logic, have ChatGPT write all the code for us, and then the end result, I think, is going to be a form that is going to have the customer information added onto it. So come with me and we'll work on that. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We have this code here, and this is the code that we created on our first video. And just before we get started, I just want to let everybody know that what we're doing with putting this code, like secret keys and all of that on the front end, we're going to have to clean this up at the very end, but a lot of IT professionals are going to look at me and say, this guy should not be sending over secret keys into ChatGPT, and it's going to create all kinds of security and cyber issues and criminal warfare. Don't worry about that, all right? All you cybersecurity people need to just get out of the way, and we're going to update those keys, regenerate new ones at the very end, and we're in dev, and organizations should just stop with this. I am so sick of MFA and all of those other features that the reality is like, you already have my social security numbers anyways, so all right, I'm just letting you know that you're not like causing all kinds of issues by exposing these keys. We will get that figured out later and generate new ones, so don't even worry about that. Now, here's our code, and we've got this chat here, and it's already got too many records, so I'm just going to delete the records. I'm going to go to my SQL table, and I'm just going to, maybe let's just say begin transaction. I like to use begin transaction before I delete records. Delete from books chat, and we'll just do that, and we will do begin transaction. 21 rows, and then we'll do a commit. And you could always roll this back as well using a rollback command like this if you didn't do it correctly. But we got 21 records. That's exactly what we want. There's nothing in the chat now, so if I refresh this, let's go to refresh, and there's nothing there. So let's just make sure that ChatGPT is talking to us. Hello, are you there? All right. Yes. Oh, yes, it's perfect. And let's just see if we got records here. Jordan and OpenAI chatting with each other. All right. Now, our timestamp is perfect too because you can see it's in order here. So what we want to do now is, this is where it gets interesting because we're going to build some business logic into our chat here. And right now we have the get billing chat, but we also have the post billing chat. The post billing chat is when you actually click on send, and the get billing chat is refreshing this chat when the page is refreshed, or maybe we'll be doing other things in the app later. My goal is to just have this be our ultimate expert that's going to do all of our billing and general ledger. So I don't know why anybody would want to leave this window. So, Americano. Let's go ahead now and let's grab our post-billing chat. And we've already got our ChatGPT ready to go here. So we're going to grab our post-billing chat. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to say, first of all, I'm going to go to my Notepad++. I want to go ahead and make sure that that is saved. And I like to just go into Notepad++, do a save as, and we'll find our Boox.Expert folder, and we'll say this is our Boox.Expert post chat. And I always like to do our timestamp here with the year, month, and day, so that way it puts everything in the correct order if we need to sort. So we know that we have this saved, and we can say, I have this. I always like to start it off like this too. I have this Azure function, and we want to make some edits to it. Do you know how this function is working based on this function code? Right. All right. Let's just see what it says, and it's going to come back and say, yes, it knows everything that it's doing here. All right. Perfect. What I want to do now is I want to know, and I want the code to utilize ChatGPT in a way that it analyzes the chat posting, and before it posts the chat, it should reply back with a simple integer variable. The variables should be 1. It should be 0 if the chat request from the end user is just a general comment or question that does not have anything to do with business. Or let's just do reply 0, reply 9999, just in case like we have like 10,000 different scenarios, right? All right. The second thing is reply 1 if the chat request from the end user is related to creating a customer. All right. Reply 2 if the chat request from the end user is related to creating an invoice. All right. So let's do that. And after the question about the logic is posed to ChatGPT, then ChatGPT should reply the integer only back to the end user in the form of the chat. That is my prompt. I have no idea if it's going to work. We do have a backup, of course. Here's our backup, just in case. And we we are going to see, okay, take a look at this prompt here. It's saying analyze the following message and respond with a single integer. 999 if the message is general comment or unrelated to business. 1 if the message is related to creating a customer. 2 if the message is relating to an invoice. Just seeing this here, I actually want to change this, and I want to say, you know what, I like this. However, I think we need to change the 999 if it is anything other than the following 1 or 2 scenarios. This way, it doesn't actually cause any issues with getting into a situation. Again, I'm using human chat here, where if it doesn't fall under 1 or 2, it should be a 999. All right, let's see if it goes ahead and does that for us. Americano. All right, here it goes. Cool. All right, it actually put it last here, which is great. And the message is going to be the text display. All right, so it looks like we're using 3.5 Turbo. We're going to insert that chat in here, and then we're going to reply back. I'm going to go ahead now, and knowing that we have a backup, just save this. And this is where it gets fun. All we're going to do is go back into our chat app. All right, refresh the page. And I'm going to say, I don't see the chats. Sometimes it does this. And we'll just refresh this page. There it is. Okay, well, so we'll say, I want to create a new customer, and the details are ABC company. Or no. Let's use something that a company name that I like. We're going to say Fabricam. For those of you who know Dynamics GP, you can relate to what I'm doing here. We'll say address is 16602 North Lake Village Drive, Odessa, Florida 33556. All right, just send that. Crossing my fingers. Crossing my fingers. And we're going to see if there hasn't been a record that's been created. We're probably going to look here and see that there is a error. There is an error in our console. All right. And we're going to go to ChatGPT and just say the front end has this information for an error. Do you think this is on the Azure function side or the front end? All right, we're going to go ahead now and take this old code here, and we're going to say this was our old code that was working. Do we need to have a mix of asking ChatGPT to respond with an integer and then use some of the old code to actually post the data to SQL and respond back to the front end? This way, the front end works correctly. By the way, here is the front end code. Because we haven't given it the code, just created a brand new chat. All right, I'm just going to let it think. See? It's going to combine some of this code here. So that's good. It is using the connection string. It's using the username, text display, chat IG. It is requesting it to with the prompt for the classification. It's going to insert the chat message into the database. Now send the chat GPT OpenAI full response. And it's going to insert it here. All right. And we're going to see if that works. All right. So now we're going to grab this front end, copy this, refresh the page. So that way it does a full refresh. All right. I would like to create a customer named Fabricam, located in Tampa, Florida. All right. And look, we're probably going to receive another error message, all right? And you'll kind of see how I'm debugging this because we're going to walk through a number of different steps to debug this. Let's go back here and see if nothing is inserted. Let's go here and see what the issue was. All right. Status at 500. So it's having trouble with the actual process here of the code. So we're going to say I'm receiving this now here. Can we simplify this and take our original code that was working correctly here and we just direct it to create an open AI chat message with the requirements of the 999 1 or 2, and then store that as a chat variable and use that chat variable as our response. We don't need to actually do anything else with ChatGPT yet. We can just store the request as a message response and utilize the front and we can just store the request as a message response and utilize the old code here. Thoughts? All right, so we're gonna now see if we can talk it into, because look, the bottom line is that it works great, but when you start to deal with some of these complex type of tasks, you can certainly go down a rabbit hole here. So we're going to kind of take a different approach here and take the original code that works. I always like to start off with the original code and kind of go backwards here. So we're going to just double check to see if anything was added here. It wasn't. So we're going to go back and grab this and refresh the preview here. And now say I want to create a customer, wait for it to load the data. All right. And likely it's getting off another error here. So it says expected token E is not a valid JSON. Okay, so let's see now if it's going to work. It's just having some problems with it being a valid JSON. All right. I'm going to start working pretty quickly here, so as we debug this, I will try to explain as we debug. And I'm just going to use time to create a customer. Right. And I don't see anything there, so we'll go to our developer tools. All right, let's go ahead now, and this is how we're going to do this. We're going to fire our AI assistant and create a new chat, and this time around we are going to grab our code that actually works, and we are going to go here and put our code that actually works back in, and we are going to say this. We're going to say okay, role is the user. All right, our text display is our text. Role. All right, we're going to take this and we're going to say, can you edit the role of this OpenAI to return following as a message? One, if the user is asking a question about creating one of these integers, about creating a customer. Two, if the user is asking a question about creating an invoice. And 999, if the user is asking a question or comment for none of the above. All right, here is the Azure function. Everything needs to be the same except the role asking OpenAI. I hope this is like, all right, this is like kind of, we fired our last AI, and we are going to now see if this AI is going to get us where we want to go. I do like to fire AIs all the time, so just kind of keep that in mind here. Still got 2 records there, so nothing is happening. So we'll go here. We will copy and paste. Close this one. All right, save successfully. Copy that, refresh it. And I want to create it. All right, we're going to cross our fingers for the 5th time. Ooh, yes. Response type 1. I want to create an invoice. Oh, 2 for 2. I love you. 999. All right, now, why is it doing a response type? All right, let's go ahead and just add a new. Let's do a control F and we will find response type. All right. Ah, there it is. Let's go ahead and remove this now. And let's see if it just returns us, because we found response type, because it kept on saying response type in the message, right? So we found that, and now we want to actually see if it will just return a 1 or a 0, right? Or 999 or a 2. I want to create an invoice. I want to create a customer. I want to create the customer Fabricam at address 16002 North Lake Village Drive, Odessa, Florida 33556. I'm just thinking this time, oh gosh, is it going to work? I should get a 1. Oh, I think it erred. No. No. We're almost there. Oh, it had a network issue. I'm just going to copy this and say it again. Okay, cool. Oh man, create me an invoice for Fabricam. It must have been a network issue. I love Tiger Woods. He is the greatest of all time. 999. Yes. Okay. I'm pretty confident. All right. We got messages being added here. I'm pretty confident that it's working the way that we expect it to. So what we want to do now is Americano. We are now going to see if we can get it to do an if and then statement here. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to save this as version 2 for today. So that way we have a backup version. Post chat v2 2024 9/14. Alright, so we've got a version 2 here that we can work with. And we're going to grab this and we're going to say, thank you so much for your help. We're going to move on to our third AI developer. And now we're going to add some logic into this. So we have this here. Is there any way we can, in Node.JS, take the response of the integer that is giving, and we want to run an if else statement to say, if it is a 1, then send the message of here is the customer form in HTML, and if it is a 2, just say here is the invoice form in HTML, and if it is a 999, just reply with the best answer to the original text message, which I think we have in a variable that we can then ask. So we probably need to have 3 different clauses that happens and a final variable that gets created as the text message on the SQL database and is responded to the app, making sure that all of our code previously is intact for replying with the proper JSON to the front end, creating the insert statement on SQL, and doing the if then clause in between. Do your best work and use the current 1, 2, or 999 that ChatGPT is responding with as our defining variable. Let's do this. All right, so this is going to be fun because we are actually now getting into some more logic around the actual variables that it's sending back. And we're probably creating another OpenAI chat. And you can see it's adding comments in. So we can actually see the logic right here where we have response type, and it is setting response type to the actual get response type text display, which is coming from the OpenAI chat completions here. So let's see. I'm not afraid because I have backups. And let's go ahead now and let's refresh this. All right. I want to create the customer Fabricam. We're just waiting for it to grab the chat data. All right. We're going to send this right now. Okay. All right. Wow. I want to create an invoice for Fabricam. It's probably another network issue. I am on a interesting setup here, just with an outdoor Wi-Fi. Could be it. Another network change here. We'll ask the same question. Here's the invoice form. I want to create. I'm just gonna ask it twice here. I want to create an invoice for Fabricam. Make sure it works. And when did the Vikings win their last Super Bowl? And we get another network issue. The good news is, I think it's working. I think it's working. I'm gonna copy this. I'm just curious now. I'm just curious. Copy this and wait. I think it responded. Nope. I'm gonna copy this and we're gonna say, here is the chat so far. However, sometimes I get this error message. What are your thoughts? Here is the error that sometimes happens. We love to use our developer tools here. And I'm going to pose the same question here. Looks like it's having trouble answering the chat questions here. So I want to create a customer. I want to create an invoice. Tell me 5 plus 5. It's having an issue with the OpenAI response here, so we will say it is actually having an issue with the OpenAI 999 response here. I think we want to try and troubleshoot. What happens when it is 9999? Are we asking OpenAI to answer our original text question before we proceed with any SQL inserts or responding back with that answer? Remember, this is for the 999. Let's see if we can troubleshoot this. All right. But let's see what it's doing error handling wise. I'm going to grab this and just going to look at what we've got here. So just see if we can spot it. So we're grabbing this message here, get best answer text display. And you know, it's interesting because I don't think that the response time is 999, that it's actually going and creating a new OpenAI. I don't think when you do the 999 here, it is actually creating another process to ask ChatGPT what the answer is to the original question. It is just doing the else process and not actually taking the next step. Interesting. Okay. I think that's how it works here. So, let's see if we can knock this out. Is it going to call it? Yes. I think it's calling it no. We're just going to see if it works anyways. And if we need to, we can fire that AI and get another one. It's having an issue with that. Let's go ahead and grab this, and we're going to grab another AI. We're going to say, do you see this code here? When it is a response type of 99999, I want to ask, before we create the SQL insert, before we do the SQL insert, I want to ask ChatGPT the original question posed by the user in this area of the code. I'm telling you, sometimes when you ask the question again with a different user, oh my gosh, or with different AI, see the text display, ask ChatGPT to answer the question, store that as a variable, and use that as our ChatGPT response for both the insert on the SQL table and the response back to the front end. Okay. I don't know if this is going to do it. Maybe. We're going to see. Create a camera. Fabricam. All right. There it is. I want to know when the Vikings won the Super Bowl. Crossing my fingers. And our error message is developer tools. Let's even see if it's creating a database. And we will order this by order by created on descending. No, it's not. So we're having issues. fired. Just have it answer the question originally with ChatGPT and then use that response only if it is 999 and send the other 1 and 2 responses back as our reply. Any thoughts here? Let's see if it works. Okay, this looks promising. Gosh. Can you rewrite the entire function? It looks like is missing a lot of the original code. Okay, does it use our okay, and we are going to go there and save that. Still saving. Still saving. All right. Want to create a customer called Fabricam. Okay. Still thinking. Here's the customer form. When did the Vikings win the Super Bowl? Nope. Still having issues with this. And I think we need to go backwards now. So let's take a look and see. I'm having trouble with this right here. If the lowercase message includes, I want to go back all the way back. I think we need to get our other guy involved here. So I don't like how this message is formulated, because we want OpenAI to determine it's almost like it's I want to go back to this one here. I want to go back to this one. Whoops. I think this one is our best bet. actually, all right. I want to create a customer. Say, why isn't this code working? I want it to respond back based on what ChatGPT says the answer is. It's using a max tokens of 10, which is quite interesting. Let's go ahead and grab that, and let's just change the max token of 10 to, I'm going to change it to like 4,000, just the max, and just make sure and see if that works. Thinking. That's good. Doesn't error yet. And it looks like it is erroring. So I think what I'm going to do here is I want to take a look at the code. Here's our content. Here's our message. All right, I'm going to go back to this code here. And I don't know why it's doing a, is it doing a chat category? Is there even a category on our, we don't even have a category on our table. I don't know why it's doing a category. Sometimes that goes back to the issue with hallucinations. It's not really a hallucination. It may have just added it because I wasn't as specific, right? Let's see if it's... Is it even... Let's go ahead and grab that there. We're going to get this right soon. I'm confident. This is the fun part about going back and forth with it. You can't get frustrated. It's not perfect. Okay. You're not loading for me. Okay, that's cool. All right, it works. All right. Now the question is if I mean, okay. See if it's actually analyzing of 1, 2, or 999. Oh, this is where it gets fun because now we can tell it that we want it to do the response type from before, but we like the way that that one worked, but we don't have a category. So let's see if it does this here. Whether response type 1, 2, or 999, we just want it not to be in a category on SQL. We want it to respond with the OpenAI message for 999, but respond as a message with the 1 or 2 of the category classification. We might actually want to add that field later, actually. It sounds like it might be a good field to have in SQL, just for audit trail purposes, right? Okay, this is when it gets fun because it paused on me, so refresh ChatGPT, and I always copy and paste just in case. Oh yes, I think it might actually be working. Finally, this I sometimes you just look at the code and you're like, that is correct. All right, saving changes, closing out of that. Okay, crossing my fingers. Refresh this. Now I know that the chat takes a while to load. All of this can be figured out later. We're gonna do a number of different things to figure this out later. Oh man, I really thought that it was gonna work. Well, it's not working at all now. Go figure. Mm. See if we can debug this here. Mm, Category. I think it's okay. Uh, this doesn't work. I'm gonna take a break. This is the part about prompt engineering. Sometimes you got to be pretty slick with how you do this. Um, Sometimes you'll have a good day, sometimes you'll have a bad day. I'm not having a good day at all. Sometimes it might take you a couple of hours to figure it out, and sometimes it'll take you like 30 minutes. All right. Oh, that's interesting. It actually worked. I spelled it wrong. Ah, not working at all. Oh, it's there. I want to create a customer. It's it's only erroring. It seems like it's not responding with the this code. Gosh, you just look at it and you're like, it's so close. I know we're on the right path. I know it. Let's again change that. I want to change this to 4,000. Saved. Capital of New York. Is it putting it into the? It's not doing anything. I want to create a customer name. If I spell it right. I feel like we need to go backwards again. All right. Let's see if we can knock this out. I'm going on an hour now. Please. rewrite the entire. I may troubleshoot this by having it remove SQL for now. This is interesting. It's 129 lines of code, which the code before was only 122 lines. So that is being interesting. This message is about creating a customer. Gosh. I want to invoice my customer, Fabricam. This message is about creating an invoice. Okay. And you know, it's saying system right here, which is interesting because that might be why it's not showing OpenAI's response. Okay. I want to know when the Packers won the Super Bowl. Oh gosh, I think we got it. I think we got it working. Okay. All right, we're making a small adjustment, and I know that I want to make another adjustment. I'm going to go to my original code and say similar to how this does it. Okay. Crossing my fingers, and gosh, I want to delete everything here again. Begin transaction, delete everything. 68 chats so far in the last hour. All right. I want to start over. Um, that's weird. I'm not confident this is going to work. But it worked, as you can see, it inserted those records into the database. So therefore, I'm going to save that as another version because I am very confident that we can at least work on that later, right? post chat v3. Let's take a look at this. Okay, it's doing classification. It's inserting it. I like this. And we're going to refresh this. Make sure that this saved it, which it did. Go sour. I want to create a customer. We have nothing there yet. Oh, great. I want to create an invoice for Fabricam. Awesome. And how are you doing today? Oh, that is so great. Can you help me create an invoice for Fabricam? Oh, yes. Okay. I'm stopping there. Third video, we're finally going to bring in the form in HTML. Now that we have it replying with what we want, analyzing it, creating the code for the conversation in our SQL table, we are now going to, oh, I'm so excited about this. We're going to have it actually build the invoice out here, or not the invoice, the customer. And then we're going to hook up Stripe. So check me out on the third segment. All right, so here's pretty much what we did today. We took our chat interface that we already created in video 1, and we built it in a way that allows ChatGPT to respond back to us. So it responds back to us with not just the answer to the question we're asking. It does do the answer, but it responds back to us with the logic, business logic of whether or not it's an invoice or if it's a customer. And what we're doing with that logic, oh, that's a tarantula right there. That's cool. What we're doing with that logic is we're going to have the AI assistant now create us some more logic around forms. So, if we wanted to create us a customer or an invoice, we're going to actually have it build out the form for us based off of the entry that the user requests. So, imagine you're just saying, oh, I got a new customer, right? I got a new customer. The name is Fabricam. The address is 16002 North Lake Village Drive, and the phone number is 813-842-3200. That input from the end user's perspective is going to then be parsed out by ChatGPT using JSON structure that will then create the HTML form back in the chat. So the chat will then be connected to Stripe, which will then be the CRM system that we're going to use as the backend database. So the beauty of this is that you never have to leave the chat to create a customer. Why this is useful? Because we all want to sell more. We don't want to deal with ERP systems. We want to just be able to sell more. We want to have more revenue generating activities, focus on content, focus on these things. So that's where we're going to go next. This is interesting because it allows us to build out the entire ERP system through the chat communication. So that's gonna be our next video, video 3, and I'm excited to kind of have you keep watching these videos, so subscribe.